All right, we are live. Welcome, guys, to episode 17 of the weekly. And with me is Mr. Warren Bowman. How's it going, man?
That's going good. How's it
Yeah.
going? Besides Hangouts just being terrible application.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Sam probably can't make it. Yeah, had a dental appointment yesterday, which was very painful.
Wussy.
And Juan has to go to an appointment this morning, so he can't make it also. So it's just us. So, let's fire away. Uselessness of the week. There's really none until Hangouts started giving issues, but I think I want to tie it to the main topic, which is messaging, especially when it comes to the plethora of messaging applications that we have. I mean, it's sort of a uselessness. It really isn't at the same time. But Jesus Christ, we have too many messaging apps. I mean, you mentioned, right? There are 7 messaging apps from Google alone. 7.
Yeah.
And then
I think technically I did correct that on the podcast. There's 5.
5. Okay, 5 messaging apps from Google. And then we have Facebook Messenger. We've got WhatsApp. We've got what's the one on iOS again called again? iMessage. Then you've got text messages. You got to throw that in there. And then whatever platform you are using to communicate, there's also messaging there. So Twitter, YouTube, that's granted that's connected to each platform. But I mean, are we ever going to get to a point where we have something a little bit more centralized, or will we see Trillion or something like that come back?
In the mobile game, I don't think we'll see Trillion come back because there's obviously, and I love Trillion, there's obviously a value to these companies to continue creating these applications. This is an article I wish I didn't get the chance to write, but I think I remember talking to you about this messaging war 5 years ago.
Yeah,
this was the next great thing that was going to start to happen, and we're seeing it. And the war seems to be more focused from Google than really anyone else. Yeah. And the problem is that they can't get anyone to use their applications as heavily as some of the other messaging applications they use, because Facebook obviously has Facebook Messenger, and that's used pretty heavily. I mean, that ties into the social network that it's connected to. And it's actually a pretty good application. A lot of people complained about it when they split it off, and everybody whined about dying it. Everyone whined, and I mean whined like a little, I'm going to say it right now, like little bitches, because Facebook separated the application. It ended up being the greatest thing they ever did, because now they can make a great messaging application that does group chat well, that does regular messaging. You can pay people through it. You can send GIFs, videos. It does some predictive texting as well too, and a predictive emojis, and predictive stickers as well. It does a lot of great things within that application. And the only thing I think right now, you don't need to have a Facebook account to actually use it, but it's great that it has all that in there. And when they added messaging and it didn't work out, they took it out. But my point of that is that they focused on creating a very good application to work. The same thing with WhatsApp as well too. WhatsApp focused on creating a great application that worked for them.
Simple, straight to the point.
But it has a lot of things within it that you can do and add on to it. And it's easy to sign up for and easy to use. To a less degree, Snapchat has some messaging within it, and so does Instagram and things like that. But those are tied to a social network, and those work a little bit differently. Twitter has DMs, which a lot of people use for a long time as well too, and still kind of use that, even though it's character limitations. Google's issue is that they can't get behind one messaging application and create and stick to it. All those other companies have one thing in common, is that they provide a consistent experience. And
that's the thing.
Quality experience that Google, for whatever reason, refuses. I'm calling it refuse. Yeah, that sounds harsh, but it refuses to do so because they had it. They had it with Google Talk. They had it with, people were calling it GTEC. They were using it in Google Messenger. What did they do? They ripped the shit out. They ripped it out and acted like nobody actually fucking used it. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. They just ripped it, renamed it something else, and a bad name. I was actually talking with Andrew about this and how they have one of the worst names for a messaging application. And while Hangouts itself is actually a pretty good application in terms of chatting, in terms of messaging, in terms of syncing across the board, in terms of being able to use it for SMS, especially if you want to use it on a desktop and on mobile and being able to use it on any device that you're at. Video, being able to instantly video chat with people it's really cool. They're like one of the few that were, honestly, they were doing it better than Skype was in terms of just instantly connecting with someone to create a good video application. And it was actually pretty good. Outside of Hangouts on air, and once you go on air, I don't care, we're on YouTube now, it's a shitty application. Very shitty application. And they refuse to fix it. They honestly, at this point, refuse to fix it.
I think the problem with Google and the way you do things, and as you just mentioned, Skype had its own problems too. And Skype had to,
it still does,
but it's not as bad. I mean, the only problem they have is actually on the mobile side, and it's actually just syncing, because I use Skype mobile, and
Skype mobile honestly isn't that bad. I actually use that for work communication.
Yeah, the problem is just syncing the messages correctly.
Well, that has a lot to do with it being on link, and link really doesn't do that. And so that's a huge honest. That's why they're never going to get any bigger than where they are with the messaging platform, because it doesn't sync across the board.
No, it does. It's just there's a delay. It's not as fast as Hangouts, but it's not also as slow as it used to.
Well, no, see, the thing is that Skype does it, but it's forked in, because they ripped a lot of Skype code out and use Link. Yeah. Link doesn't do that natively. That's why it's so slow. Link itself, if you're a corporation, you work in a business, use Link, unless you set it up, which is a pain in the ass to actually set it up, your messages don't sync. All your conversations just go into your Outlook in a conversation history section. But if you close that window, open it up, and go someplace else, or go to anywhere else, your convos do not sync at all. And it's like one of the reasons why it's getting dumped for a competition such as like Slack, which is I think you may have started seeing the commercials. I have a couple of clients who use that, and Slack itself is basically Google Hangouts done way fucking better.
What I was going to say is that when you look at it as to a certain degree, even Skype does its strength. Strength is video. It always has been video.
Yeah,
and
that struggled at one point too.
It struggled at one point, but again, when Microsoft came and cleaned that out, the video quality has been very solid. And
I give it that the video quality's gotten better. The application I still can't stand. It's like a disease on a computer. I mean,
no, I'm fine with the Skype application, but see, to me, I'm fine with the fact that it works. It works well. It has one problem, which is syncing, but even that too is slowly getting better. Hangouts goes through this problem of certain things just happen. Certain things happen in different times, and then we now come to the situation where we have Google I/O, and they announced 2 new applications to do the job of one that's already there. I mean, and
all these features could have been dumped into Hangouts. So let's talk about them first. Yeah. The first one is Allo. Allo is more of a this is their WhatsApp competitor. And this messaging application, it doesn't require a sign up. It's just by phone number. It's I think it's just one-to-one communication. I don't know if it does group chatting yet or not. It probably will when it debuts. But it does all these things where it can do smart assistant and AIs. It can kind of predict things. It can read. It can scan a photo and tell what's in it, and kind of tell you what's going on in the photo, and give you sort of smart replies and stuff like that, which people are already complaining. Some people are already complaining about. Don't send me smart replies. I said,
I mean, you have to select the smart reply
anyways. And to be honest with you, it's actually pretty good from what I saw. Is that it actually will say pretty much what you're probably gonna say anyway. So
yeah. I mean, granted, it's short, one word, but it's simple. If you're busy, you're chatting with a friend, the friend says,
no different than predictive.
I mean, all you have to do is just say, no, I'm busy, or yeah, I'm in.
It's no different from predictive text, and anybody that's a Power Messenger has got those set up in whatever app they are, and they use those when they need to, when they can't type something out fully, and that to me makes plenty of sense. But once again, that's a separate application, and then you have Duo, which is I call this sort of their competitor to a little bit of Snapchat and Periscope a little bit, but this is more one-to-one communication. It doesn't have the social networking aspect to it, and it's just video calling instantly, one-on-one video calling. You get tap body, instantly call someone. The cool thing is that it does pop up with basically a live video feed. You with the caller ID is just a person on the other end. You just click on to turn on your camera and see the person. That's cool and all to be able to kind of see that, but it's a separate application, doesn't connect with Duo, and it's on its own thing. And this includes all the 3 other messenger apps that they have, which is, we just talked about. Hangouts is there, and then they have Messenger, which is just their basic text messaging application that they have that supposed to use risk communication. It's sort of the one that follows carrier messaging and stuff like that. And that's actually a pretty good application, but anybody can download that, and that's a separate one. And then they have everyone forgets Google Voice technically still exists on its own as an application. Application still exists, even though it hasn't been updated since Ice Cream Sandwich. It's still there, and it's still, if you haven't decided to move your Google Voice to Google Hangouts, you can actually use that to still message people on the go if you want to. That's 5 different messaging applications that all, some cross each other and some don't. A lot of them do all the same similar functionality. I kind of understand offering maybe more than 1 or 2 options, maybe more than 1 option, maybe 2 options out there, but not
this is why,
different options. It's
this is why Apple customers will go, I have iMessenger. I mean, there really is the beauty of having one.
And Android users want to say that with Hangouts, and they refuse to give that to us. They refuse it.
There's such a beauty to that. And I'm fine that, to me, I wish Allo was more of a demo of saying, if they just said, this is what could come, but this is Project Allo. And then you move all that into Hangouts. Because at the end of the day, Hangouts is your most expansive. I mean, remember, if you have a Gmail, you have Hangouts, right? That's how it was. So Hangouts can be included to also do number tie-in. You can do it. It's not like it's hard to do it. I mean, even Skype can do it too. Skype can do a number tie-in. Skype is doing number tie-in for a long time. And this is just strictly a video service, by the way, by then. So I don't see why they can't do it. And I don't see why those things can be added to it. And, you streamline the service so it becomes, much better.
There's a comment here from Chicago Herps. He has, if Hangouts is getting phased out, will it be losing? Will I be losing my Google Voice number? Do you think Google will make us use Project Fi just to keep our Google Voice numbers in the future? I don't think so. I think the thing is, I think Hangouts is going to stick around because they've been using that to leverage Project Fi. And maybe some of these plays or some of these messages is eventually trying to lead people into Project Fi somehow, some way. I'm not exactly sure. Google Voice will go away. It will absolutely go away at some point or another. And people will have to make a choice on how that number where they will need to take their numbers to. And I think most likely that will get integrated fully into Hangouts, and they will figure out a way to give you some of the similar functionality that you had in Google Voice within the Hangouts application. So I don't think they'll just delete the numbers because they're kind of committed to that, and they can't really pull themselves out of that. They'll piss off too many people. So I think they will find a way to kind of maneuver around that. That was kind of his comments. And then in Jacob 15 says here, do you think Google Allo and Duo are great ideas or just a gimmick? The thing is, I don't think they're gimmicks. That's not my problem. If they were gimmicks, we would just laugh about this for 5 minutes.
No, they have very
good. This isn't a gimmick.
The thing about both of them is that they are very good functionalities in there that just should be in Hangouts. That's just really what it is.
Or whatever name of the messaging application.
Or like I say, a centralized messaging app, because that is where, Hangouts has the beauty of, it's the only messaging app that you can use across any kind of device. You can use WhatsApp too. But
Facebook Messenger is now starting to take that role.
Exactly.
And they got to be very careful with that, because I've looked at Facebook Messenger and I've compared it to Hangouts, to some of the other group things that we use. Outside of the SMS, which they can add it at any other time, there's no reason why any of us should not use it. Jump over to Facebook Messenger. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's a few different tweaks here and there, but the application works well. There's a desktop version of the app now. You can get on the web. They have a separate Messenger web app, which Google copied and made their own right after Facebook did theirs. They really need to be careful with this, because the Facebook's Messenger app has gotten quite a bit better and it's improved over time quietly. And you see people
my thing with Allo is the way they pushed it, because of the heavy integration of Google Assistant in there. It doesn't even really compete with with WhatsApp, right? Because, when you hear that number 10 integration, you're going, okay, that's kind of like a WhatsApp competitor. But WhatsApp is so lean because of its, worldwide expanse use. You can be on the lowest denominator smartphone and push it.
We don't know like how Google AI is going to actually work on the system itself. We don't know how well, how lean it's going to be. I mean, Google Now is on pretty much everything Google Now works. I haven't had an instance where Google Now doesn't work. The only thing that I've seen run sometimes well and not is been when you might use voice to text.
Yeah.
In that, I found that to be more based upon your internet connection speed than it has been on the device itself. Speed, which by the way, once again,
Chicago Herb says, damn. I use my Google Voice numbers for my side check.
Oh, I think a lot of people use their Google Voice numbers for various different nefarious things. And that's why a lot of people like it. And it's just a good way if you have several phone numbers or different things to be able to have your number kind of go across the board to everyone relatively easy without too much difficulty. And with Project Ara, you can actually sign into different devices with it, and it's a nice way. I think some people are saying, well, why are you complaining about Google giving you more free stuff? That's not really the complaint. It's just like, hey, we like this. Stop. Make this work better. That's all we're asking them to do. Focus on Hangouts. Make Hangouts better. I was kind of hoping while at that conference that crowd would have kind of gotten antsy about it, and somebody would have screamed out, "Hey, make Hangouts better," or just had a reaction.
No, not from that crowd. Come on.
But have a reaction to it that make people go, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe we should do something different because people are seeing things differently." Do I think Allo and Duo will be separate apps by themselves forever? I don't think so. I think eventually they'll merge into some other big application that they'll eventually get rid of these and then merge this into some new messaging application that will kind of tie in and handle everything. They'll figure out something and remarket it again, and they'll go about their business that way. But I mean, I think a lot of people I think eventually we're going to have an Android chat or an Android messenger or some sort will eventually be the thing that we have that's that marketed competitor against iMessage. And my problem with Google is that the greatest advantage we talked about earlier that it has over all those messengers is the fact that it works across all platforms, no matter what platform you have. And the only really other one that does that is Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
And I think WhatsApp finally made a desktop app client too, I think, as well. I don't think it's as good. I think it's more of a web container, but I think they finally made one too. So
yeah. All right, let's move on to the topics of the day. Starting off, of course, still going to Google I/O, but the first one of their biggest announcement was their competitor to Amazon Echo, Google Home. And that's coming. Everything they announced at the show is coming out at the end of the year. Let's just put it that way. Everything.
I don't even know why they announced anything.
Which is surprising because they actually had a unit there. They showed it, and it's one of those things where I was like, "Wow, that should be out like in at least a month or two."
They pulled the same thing Amazon did with the Echo. We announced it. Yeah, 6 months later, you'll actually see the device out. I'm like,
but the Echo at least you could pre-order. That was even at least they give us the chance.
Yeah, at least the pre-order, but it made you completely forget about that thing. 6 months later, and what did Amazon have to do? You have to ramp up their.
They have to ramp up, but I think
wasting a ton of money.
But I think what the difference is that what Amazon had to do is they had to announce something, but they also needed to build a partnership because now how the Echo really connects with a lot of things now. So my question is how do you see Google moving the home? I mean, they showcased that, you can use it to control your Chromecast and all that, which is great. And also, it ties into, Google Now, but they didn't really talk about the other Internet of Things connectivity, like what is controlling lights. I know you can do that, but they just necessarily didn't show that. And that's where, a lot of people will be interested in because the way Echo does that now, Echo ties in with the Samsung smart things and you can control your whole house by just telling Alexa, whatever you want it to do. So do you think Google is going to have another launch event for that just to showcase its full breadth of functionality, because in 6 months it's going to happen.
Yeah, most likely whenever they announce the new Nexus devices, they'll announce on Google Home again, and it'll have some change to it or some tweak to it, and they'll have like a date on when they're going to roll everything out, which will probably happen in October sometime. So they'll redo this again. This is just saying, hey, we have something. Here's the unit. Can't order it. So, it's almost like they would have been better off just holding private discussions about this and just kind of telling developers, hey, we have this, develop for this now.
Yeah,
and then down the road, make that big announcement to the public.
To me, I think they should have shown was the Internet of Things platform. Their like how Apple has the iHome kit. I want to see the platform itself where you can connect this light, you can connect the door, you can connect this, you can get that. To me, would be much better to show. And then, like you said, 6 months down the line, you say, and here's the central piece home that controls all your stuff for you. Just because to me, I think that would be much better to actually showcase, because like you said, when you make the announcement, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Oh, can I get it? Nope. Gotta wait till September, right? Or is it? No, it's now in November when they make those announcements. I mean,
man, it'll probably be sometime early in the fall.
Yeah,
so I would assume.
So that's one. The other thing is also Google Assistant. Everyone is going to the AI bots. Microsoft made that announcement earlier this year. They showcase how it's worked with all their devices and all how app makers can use it to have their apps talk to any kind of device, any kind of software. It doesn't matter. Facebook has its own too, and Google's also showing its own with Google Assistant. I had this discussion with Sam, and Sam was like, well, the big AI announcement is the fact that, I forgot the name of Google's AI that beats the Chinese player in Go. I can't remember the name of the AI machine, but I was like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not consumer facing right now. For me, the idea of bots and the fact that, I really like that demo where they showcased a low, I'm having a conversation with Warren, and Warren says, let's have dinner. And immediately Alo's like, here are restaurants for you to pick from in the area, and then we just say,
I thought that was extremely useful.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go out of the app. Then you can just say, okay, you know what? Fine. We'll go to TGI Fridays, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And you say 7 o'clock. It's like, there are no reservations at 7. How about 7:30 or 8?
Yeah. That to me is big, and useful,
it is.
and wanting to an AI usability. I think that's pretty cool that they're doing it in those manners, and the way it's kind of seeping in. It's a Google Now approach to things. That's how Google Now kind of goes into everything, and it's not like this big thing. It's kind of integrates into your different things that goes along. So it's good to see that they're pushing it, and I think it's going to be more something that's going to be in the background, not something that's going to be in the foreground for you. You're going to forget that it's there.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you realize it is when a situation like that comes up. It reminded me of even the Microsoft demo was kind of similar, where the lady got a message on Skype that her boss says, you're going to Brazil next week. Immediately it went Brazilian calendar. Here are your hotels, and since she's a Ritz customer, again, same Google Now Cortana correlation. It says we have so rooms available. We can upgrade you for points and all that kind of stuff. And then the way Microsoft likes to do is it showed your AI almost going to go talk to the AI while you do stuff. It's like just to make it a little bit more animated, almost, so to speak. So you kind of have the feeling that you've got this machine doing stuff for you, so to speak. But it is interesting how that plays. I want to see how all that plays down the line. We talked about Allo and Duo. Android N. Preview 3 is out. Not much in terms of new functionality, other than the one I did like is the multitasking. The quick switching, where you double tap the multitask button.
I think the double tap the multitask button.
To switch.
That was cool. That's not live. That's a iOS move. because essentially that's how you get into their multitask. But the difference is this just goes to the last application. So you'll hear fanboys ranting and raving about that, and it's just like, for me, I don't really care about the data is in the preview. Just put the damn thing out. Now, I really, like, I don't care. Like it's nice to hear about these things coming forward and stuff like that, and coming, but it's all about, you know, when it finally drops, what we get from those drops. I kind of miss the days of when Google would put out updates every 6 months of something, and they put out a core of something out there, and it would be some cool new functionality. I understand that really hurts in terms of carriers, because carriers are extremely slow on updating Android, and eventually I think with one of the things with Android N, with them being able to deploy images out, and with the new way it's going to update things, and things kind of just update kind of on its own in the background. And if that can be successful, I think that would really help in terms of getting people on same versions of Android a lot quicker, a lot sooner, and a lot better.
Yeah.
I like the app feature where it could download only specific parts of the application.
Android Instant App. Yeah, that is really key.
That's going to be really key, I think, for a lot of people, especially when clicking on links, only want certain parts of the app and not necessarily it jump all the way into Google Chrome to get the web version, which the web version might not be a very good of a
it's very true. And I think one of the things also is just you know how, like, in our case, we review a lot of devices. So you get a new smartphone and we sign in, and then, you know, back up from your last device, and I see I have 155 apps. I'm like, why do I have 155 apps?
Yeah.
I don't use 100. I don't use all 155 at a time. And you're looking at it like, wow, you know, you now go in and, you know, deselect all the applications. So this you're right. This is big, especially for certain applications. Like, for instance, I don't use Snapchat. I barely use Snapchat. But if I can click on it and just get certain things and maybe reply my cousin, because she still likes to send me messages on Snapchat, and I never check it, you know, that would make more sense, you know.
Speaking of that, apps, especially now when you can update your OS, the dreaded app thing, upgrading apps thing will no longer show up, which will be great.
Yes, thank God.
Thank God. That thing used to be horrid to be able to when you see that thing pop up. Speaking of horrid, side note, I'm trying to sign into the Windows Store Twitter application, and no, just can't do it. Screw you.
Twitter itself?
Yeah, it just won't let me in.
I don't even know. That's never been. At least Facebook has decided to make a good.
Like I've kept trying to sign in, and I know I have the right password. Nope. Bye. See you later. It's like, I don't know if it's a two-factor thing. I don't know what it is, but it's one of my frustrations as to why I don't really like to use Twitter at all.
Yeah, Twitter has this. I mean, I use the web browser on Twitter just because I'm like, okay, fine. I know I can get in and do what I need to do, but it's just, I don't know why they just haven't decided to make a good application.
It was when they decided to kill the third-party support. And when they did that, they effectively killed the application, because people were accessing Twitter through other applications that they preferred to access it with, and they tried to force everyone to use their apps, and their apps are garbage. I mean, just now, like, the Phoenix almost died, which is one of the apps that I use, the only app I used to use on Twitter on my phone, until they came out and made some deal, and I guess just increased their tokens, which I think they just emailed them and said, you guys are a huge client of ours, and we're just going to drop a whole bunch more tokens for you, because we can't afford to lose any more applications, and we're actually trying to build more support. We're trying to get back to where we were before, and pretty much everyone.
It's really. I remember when I used to use my, you know, the Lumia 1520, and what's his name? I've forgotten the guy who made all those apps.
Metro Twit.
Yeah, Metro Twit. There's so many Twitter apps that were so good.
Yeah, and Metro Twit was the one I loved.
And when they released the official Twitter app, I was like, what is this garbage?
It was garbage.
I couldn't retweet. I couldn't do, like, even just to retweet was an issue.
Especially with people that have multiple accounts. There's a lot of people that run businesses, so there is a multiple account thing that they have. And if you have one personally for yourself and one you like to switch to for work, and they were terrible at doing that, and they didn't even support it at first. They were terrible at doing these things, and the app's got no better since then. And even now, everyone just logs into the web, and they wonder why they have less traffic. They have less traffic because people just
it's almost like they didn't learn from Facebook. Remember when Facebook really said mobile is the future. I remember when Zuckerberg came out, which is why they split the messenger so they could get the app better.
Pages came separate.
Yeah,
groups became separate. You see all these separate applications. Well, they kind of keep the Facebook app kind of the same thing. Although I think at one point that will get a major update when they choose to finally roll that update out to kind of have the look and feel of all the other applications. But they know, all right, mobile's the future. We got to make sure we have the best mobile experience on Facebook because we sucked at it for so long. And they did suck at it for a while. And it's far better than what it used to be. But for some reason, Twitter, with the mobile-centric application, just has not learned that. I don't know why. They just can't. For some reason, they can't seem to figure that out. I think Booredatwork just froze. And I think, he just froze. It was just like this face. You're just like, you're just like sitting there. I was like, I don't know if he's agreeing, disagreeing, looking up the next topic. I don't know, but
no, it's usual good old Hangouts. Hangouts is like, you've dissed us enough today. You have dissed us enough today.
Robert Rayland says, you think big companies would do UX research, but nope. No, not Twitter. They're slowly, like, even with this NFL deal, it's just replays. And at the end of the day, it's rebroadcasting. And at the end of the day, they're just going to, it's going to float away. It's going to float into just being this service that people use in the back end to communicate with each other in real time in terms of businesses and support, in terms of news broadcasting. And every now and then a hashtag and then a funny Twitter roast that goes on.
No, see, the thing with Twitter is that
beyond that, it won't grow. It will not grow any bigger than what it is.
The reason why Twitter is not growing as much as they should is, to your point, when they killed off all the third-party app support. Because what happened with third-party app support was retweet was not by Twitter, it was by third-party app. Right?
Retweet was something that the community made. They just put RT on it, and then eventually got integrated into apps.
So, but that's the thing, it's when you have those segments, even now, we've talked about this before, how Twitter can grow. Periscope was the right way, and that has stagnated now because they were not quick enough to start monetizing Periscope. It's really easy to monetize live stream.
You couldn't monetize it because it was the problem. My other problem with it was it's like trying to grow on that sucked because it was all tied into your Twitter feed at that point anyways. So trying to get bigger on Periscope just equaled out to what you had on your Twitter files, because when we tweet out, people would see it. Those damn notifications were one of the most annoying things on that application, is when everybody went live, and I ended up killing that off.
But the easiest thing to do to actually expand Periscope is, besides you tweeting it out, like, now we have trending comments. There should have been a Periscope comment on Twitter itself that shows you can go to tech in Periscope. You could go to almost make it like a mini YouTube sub commentary there, where you can now do, and you can also do location too, right? You can do, okay, fine, who's in New York?
They treated it like Vine, so
they needed to treat it like a mixture of YouTube, Crunchdown, have the ability of Twitter, where you can see tweets from around the world, and just make it easily accessible, so that I'm on Twitter, I'm like, okay, let's see what's on Periscope. I don't have to go into the app, right? I can just go boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay. Boom. This is cool. This is easy. I can. Oh, let me check this guy's video out. And have trending videos.
What's funny enough is that Facebook's already killed it with their live feature. It's already like Periscope is at this point kind of done. Facebook's live is probably the easiest thing I've ever seen them build, of just hitting, I want to update my status. Oh, I can go live.
Live, done.
Click, and you put in the title, and boom, you're live. Even though I wish it could rotate, but it doesn't do that.
No, I know. The only limitation you have is that, of course, it's going to, if it's personal, it's really just your friends who are seeing it.
Yeah.
That's why I said Twitter had that advantage of saying, let's release your Periscope to the world. That's where it should have been. It should have been like, if you imagine, let's say, you see Tom Brady, right, in Boston. And he's walking, like you're walking down the street. I mean, you can Periscope that. And that's something that will go out, and a lot of people will go, oh, Brady, sure. Because it goes in Twitter trending, and it goes into Periscope listing.
I did that because I went to the game one this year when they did the ceremony
Yeah.
The Super Bowl this year, though. Not that Super Bowl when the Patriots won the Super Bowl, they always did the game one is when you do the trophy presentation. I actually did a Periscope live from my Periscope to that, and it was actually pretty cool. But I was immediately saying, I wish Facebook had this. I immediately kind of said it, and I said, I wish Facebook had that.
And that's the thing you're going to see. And we know YouTube is testing the ours now, so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. If I was them,
I'm going to say this right now. YouTube, you're not the live destination. Stop it. You're not. It's not, live is not for you. Live and streaming is not for you. Twitch beats you to it. You are post live content, quality content generated. You focus on that.
wait, hold on a second. iMike says a weekly show with just Ian Warren and they are not arguing yet. What is this world coming to? I mean, this is how it's with just both of us. You know, when you throw in Juan and Sam, and then we just decide to pick sides. We're like,
it's usually Sam that starts the shit. It's usually Sam.
Instigate, then he quietly pulls back.
Yeah,
and then
he put out some ridiculous comment that kind of pulls back away. For whatever reason, you got to agree with him, and then just go.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Is the Moto G. So, oh crap, I can't share my screen. So,
let me see if I can actually.
If you can just go to Motorola web homepage, it's up.
I might have the ability to.
Okay, so
share. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Motorola announced their new devices for the year in the Moto G.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, I'm gonna just put it on there for you. All right, could you go into Moto G? So it's the Moto G4. There are 3 Moto Gs in the G4 line. The first one, which will go on the far right, is the Moto G4 Play. Now, the G4 Play is the cheapest Moto G, I believe.
Yes, it is.
In the pack. Spec-wise, you've got a Snapdragon 410 processor, 2 gigs of RAM, 2800 milliamp battery, 8 megapixel rear camera, 5 in front. Very standard Moto G affair, Android 6.0, 16 gigs of storage, 128 expanded, micro USB, no USB Type-C on all of them, which is interesting. Just, I'll kind of put it that way.
Yeah, I found that interesting. They're all going standard US.
They're going standard US. Now, the pricing for this, I think it starts at 150. 150.
They didn't really announce. They announced, I think, in rupees. I think we know the price in rupees, but
okay. If anyone knows the exact pricing, let me know, because I wasn't sure. I thought it started at 150 and goes to 250.
If somebody could go and compare they did launch in India already and do the rupees to US dollar conversion on Google and give us an idea, that'd be great. But I'll move to the next one here.
Yeah, the next one is the Moto G4, so which is the standard Moto G, you could say, at least in terms of the standard device. Turbo power up to 6 hours in 15 minutes of charging. You've got a Snapdragon. Let me see. It's a Snapdragon 617 processor, 2 gigs of RAM. Again, 16 gigabytes or 32 up to 128 gigabytes micro SD. 13. The difference here is a 13 megapixel camera and the processor. On this device. So this is, and a 3000 milliamp battery. So at least we know the battery life, even with the G4 Play, the 2800 milliamp should be fine with that 410 processor, because it's not a power hog. You should get a whole day battery life. Now, the big shaker here, of course, is the Moto G4 Plus, which I think is about 250. Again, that's just me speculating. I have no exact idea how much it costs. This comes with turbo power charging again. It's got a Snapdragon 617 processor. You can get 2 or 4 gigs of RAM on this device. The camera is 16 megapixel, f.2. Front is 5 megapixels. This also has Bluetooth 4.1 LE. And it's, again, using micro USB, 3000 milliamp battery. And it's got a fingerprint sensor. Now, I am disappointed with the location.
That is one of the ugliest damn fingerprint sensors I've seen in my life. This thing they're like one of these bootleg scanners you see in one of them knockoff booths at CES. That's what it looks like. It's just bad looking. And why would you not put this on the Motorola?
Yeah, could you scroll down to that white image there? Right there. See that M. That M is where
the zoom in on this for dramatic effect. I can't zoom in on this for dramatic effect. I wish I could.
This is where the fingerprint sensor should be. There's a dimple that
Pretend I'm zooming in.
That says, just touch it. It's right there. The logo is there, and they didn't put
the point of them putting it there was just where your finger rested. They've been saying that since the original Moto X came out, and now they don't have that. Why? Why?
Robin says blame Lenovo for the fingerprint sensor. Lenovo phone with Motorola brand. No, I think it's still, I mean, in terms of the build and all that, I think it's fine. It's just some of the choices, like the hardware choices for the Moto G line is cool. I'm cool with it. That's what it's always been, right? You know, budget, low, still very good. But with this G4 Plus, I mean, just put the fingerprint sensor at the back. I mean,
this should be a standard across all the devices. I don't really understand. I really don't understand why they wouldn't put it back there. And another thing I don't understand is they put all this tech inside of it, and especially in the Play edition, and there's the Plus edition, and they don't have USB Type C inside of it. It's kind of strange because we see other budget devices cheaper than this that come with USB Type C.
Yeah, that was Blue spearheaded that factor right there.
Yeah,
it's strange. It is a little bit strange.
Why no NFC and dual camera? Actually, I think this has NFC, doesn't it? Unless that's an oversight that I missed.
No mention of NFC here. Dual camera is not necessary. I'm sorry.
No, not on this line.
No, even in general. I mean, LG is the only one who's pulled it off well in some occasions, but a single camera can still do the job for you quite well. But no NFC. I see no indication of NFC here, unless my eyes are somehow stupid it.
That can't be. That can't be. There's something they'd have that has to be a non-mentioned oversight. Just no way that this thing does not come with NFC. If this was a no NFC device, it's already a failed from jump. That's like especially when they're trying to push mobile payments. I'd be really shocked if Google allow this to be even a Google Play certified device without NFC.
I can see the G4 Play not having NFC because that's your lowest budget. That's not a big concern. But your G4 and your G4 Plus definitely should. That's because that's at least moving up to that, because you're looking at the G4 Plus probably $250 for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, so far so good. In general, I like everything I see except that fingerprint sensor on the device. Should be in the back.
Yeah, it should be on the back. It's just also confusing that they announced this first before announcing, sort of the flagship line of phones.
Well, because the flagship was announced on June 9th.
Also these are motor maker driven. The G4 and G4 Plus are motor maker enabled as well too, which is something I think we didn't quite mention there.
Boored said, "Is it worth a buy?" We don't know. I mean, I would say at the very least it should be comparable to last year's Moto G, and if that's the case, it's still worth it. I'll put it that way. If it's that comparable,
which they're still selling last year's Moto G.
Yeah, yes, they're selling. Yeah, it's now just dubbed the G3. I
wonder what LG thinks about that.
Well, they can't. Well, because it's called the Moto G3, not just remember LG G3, Moto G3. I mean,
I'm wondering how they feel about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the case kind of comes up.
I mean, I'm sure they will handle things more amicably. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. OnePlus is teasing they might drop invites. This is from the CEO himself, who sent out a tweet, and the tweet says, "Who's looking forward to invites making a comeback?" And the first image is of someone who put a GIF of what's his name again from The Office. Steve Carell's character. What's his name?
Is he running around going, no?
He gets up off his chair and he does this. So, I mean, nobody likes invites. So, I mean, he's teasing it. It sounds like maybe they are getting it that invites are not what people like, Just now. Whatever. I mean, hey. And then his second tweet was this, which is again, it's self-serving. He says, "This feels much better in the hands than the OnePlus One," which is interesting to say. It doesn't feel better than the OnePlus 2, or the fact that I am the CEO. It's like saying this, right? I make pancakes and I go, these are the best pancakes ever made by man. Of course I made it, it's going to be the best. Or if my mom made pancakes, I would say the same thing. No, I haven't tried pancakes from Warren or a chef out there, So, I mean, it's a little self-serving, but hey.
They just annoy me with all their moves that they do. I'd wish they'd just hire a PR company and just sit behind them and shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I really wish they would.
I think they're on that path. I think they're on that path.
Like, this is like they're like, not to this degree, but they're like the Uber of fucking phones. And then just an Uber guys finally realized I need to shut up
the hard way.
I need to shut the F up and sit back here and collect my money. And at some point, this guy needs to get that. They need to get that idea too, because their marketing and PR is absolutely garbage.
That was the last thing on our list, but here are a couple of things. I'm just looking around. This is off pocket now. T-Mobile thinks it can deploy 600 megahertz by the end of 2017, which would be huge for T-Mobile.
Yeah, it would be.
Because the thing about frequencies people don't understand is, I think Verizon's at 900, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, they all have
50.
They're all at different frequencies.
But the frequency is almost like height. If you just want to put it that way, T-Mobile is at 21, right? 21 and 27, I think, are the two frequencies used. Verizon.
Well, no, they have the same. They have the 700 megahertz one like Verizon does. They split that spectrum.
Yeah, but they haven't deployed it.
They have. That's what XLT is.
No. Verizon. No, I said Verizon has. T-Mobile.
Yeah, no, T-Mobile has. They're just not branding it anything. They're not bullshitting people by branding it. That's when they said. Remember when he said more coverage in more places, especially in buildings and inside and stuff like that. That whole commercial he did. That's the 700 megahertz spectrum. They had to do that. They bought that. You can't sit on that long. They bought that immediately as soon as they could. They rolled that out there.
Oh yeah.
They just don't call it XLTE like Verizon does.
Yeah, so they push it 600, which just means more coverage area. I mean, for you, which would be great on that level. But you're right. And now, this is the big one. I almost forgot about this because the video came out yesterday. And I might do a video on this. I don't know, but I think we can just discuss it here. Because we talked about this, I think, last week. Project Ara. Google yesterday released a video about it. And, in all points in indication is that Project Ara will never be mass market. It just will not be. It's just not built that way because you swap out parts. But they showed a video of what looked like a couple of working phones where, somebody, swapped out the back and put 3 microphones so they could record. Cool. Somebody had an LCD at the back, which was e-ink for information. Some guy took 3 camera modules so he could change the cameras on his phone. One had a kickstand. That's nice. Probably bigger battery. So, and Google is talking that, Project Ara will commercially launch next year. Not exactly sure exactly when next year, but the thing is, the question I want to ask you is, where does this fall in line with, Google and its Nexus lines and all that kind of stuff? As also, how far do you think Google will push this? That's the question. Or do you think Google will make this a partnership and ask its OEMs to supply parts and say the Samsung, or like a Samsung camera in there, right? Or HTC can supply the sound and make it where the OEMs have a benefit in that aspect to drive it?
They would never work together on that. They would never want each other's parts to touch each other. They would never, ever, ever, ever would want that.
But it would be so sweet. It would be so sweet for you to get that HTC sound, some of that Samsung camera. Get
I don't know. These days I take LG's camera.
But whatever, whichever one you want, OLED screen on top of that.
I talk about this recently in the podcast I did. And Project Ara, modular phones, it's all this nerd tinkering stuff. It's not meant for the average consumer to do. Yeah. So I think when they roll this out, this will be very limited. It'll be certain manufacturers. It'll be certain things, and this
The
will go to
ZTEs of the world will jump in.
yeah, those places will, but this will be more or less for people that want to tinker and they want to see where it goes. They're gonna commercially launch a beta.
Yeah.
This is their new Google Glass. This is what this kind of is. This is their next adventure into something that's way down the road that we're not sure if it's even going to fully pick up. And I think with pricing and the way we are today, I don't think we're fully going to. But
the only way you could do it though is Project Ara has to be a subscription. That's the only way you can do it to get that pricing right.
Yeah.
Where you can swap things out. Because if
the pricings are so close now, it's just
but that's why I say you want to make it a subscription where then it's easier for me to, swap out. You can swap out 4 parts like in a 6-month period or whatever the case may be, and go, I don't like the camera. Like Project Ara comes with a stock, and then if you do the subscription, you just swap in and out what you want rather than paying per module. Because paying per module will be like, I agree with you. It's like building a PC. Early on in the PC building cycle, it was expensive. Now it's dropped, but
it's still a very niche thing
to do. Exactly.
To do. So I don't. If this was 3 years ago, I would have been far more excited for this than I kind of am now, because I'm like, I don't really know where this is going to go right now. Is this going to head in the direction that we want it to head into? Or is this something that's going to be a little bit too late? But I don't know. We'll see. I unfortunately don't. It's such a big I don't know. It really is.
It is a big I don't know. It's one of those things that hopefully, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. It's interesting. I give them props for pushing it out there. But I'd love to see how that works. And like I said, the dream would be. The dream is remember when Razer had that PC that you could swap out, like just like sliding and swap out.
Oh yeah, and I think I deemed that as like from the moment I saw it, I was like, ain't no PC they're gonna use this.
Yeah, no, but the main problem there was Razer had a functioning PC. The problem is for you to get the every single OEM to work together, for that to work. Granted, you have OEMs work together in your PC anyway, but have a singular port that is designed by Razer. And granted, the way the design was much easier for the common person to build a PC than it is today, where it's literally just like Project Ara, slide in, slide out, done. I don't have to like connect this and make sure that I have the right power ports connected, and I don't have my 12-pin as well as my 24, all that kind of stuff that we know, but most average people who want to build a PC just don't, at all. And this is where this falls into. It is great. It might be a little easier just because you're swapping out camera, battery, and like microphones, stuff like that. But it's going to be a long shot. It's going to be a very big long shot.
It's a long shot that if it does work, it will work well, but like I said, I really don't know. It sounds like I'm being negative about it, but it's more or less just kind of just don't know. This we'll see. I think this is behind a little bit.
Yeah, you could. Some people are talking here saying, imagine you can buy more RAM. Wondering about the durability. Most likely, you want to put that thing in the case. Yeah. Once you except of course, if you have a module that has a screen at the back, then, but once you fit everything, you want to put it in the case. If it's one of those things where your own configuration is more battery, more RAM, and better camera, that's it. That's what you want to do at that point. But yeah, it will be interesting. I'd love to see how it turns out. Motorola also dropped an ad for the event on the 9th, showcasing the Razer. The ad was cool. It was like a retro ad, and it basically referring to the fact that the new Moto X, or it might be called the Moto Z, according to EV Leaks, will
it's called the Moto Z.
Yeah, will be super thin. Go back to the days of the Razer and have a fingerprint sensor in the front, because we've seen leaked images, and I ain't cool with that.
No, I'm not cool with that.
So hey, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I want to get your thoughts. I know you had mentioned it in our private chat quickly, but new Star Trek trailer dropped, and I put my reaction. But I want to get your thoughts on that trailer because, to me, at least, it seemed like they corrected a lot of the wrongs they did in the first trailer.
Oh, yeah, they did. They corrected a lot of the things. Some people were trying to say the first trailers were like trying to pitch it as Guardians of the Galaxy, and I say I really didn't see that in the trailer.
They were pushing more action, and they should have kind of done an intro first.
And they're still pushing more action. That hasn't really changed in this trailer. It's just now that they're not lying to you that we're not going to really get the political sides of anything going on with this. Even though the director said that they would focus on that, and clearly the studio doesn't give two F's about that because it's clearly an action film with Star Trek branding on it, which is fine if that's what they want to make. Then by all means, just go ahead and do it. It seems like the story that they're telling is Captain's going to go save his crew, so that's going to be probably the cool thing is seeing them get knocked down because they got to destroy a ship every freaking movie.
Yeah, it's standard though. I mean, come on, you got to destroy the Enterprise.
And I'm like, it used to be destroying ships being destroyed in the Star Trek universe in terms of the television shows was a big deal. It was like a huge deal.
But in the movie,
ship went down.
That's a difference.
And if they made a new ship, they didn't rename it that same ship again. That ship was gone. That was the end of that ship.
Except the Enterprise.
Enterprise. Well, no, they'll call it a Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. They'll continue the name in some ways with that because that's an Explorer class ship.
Yeah.
So they'll continue some ways with that, but I like the trailer. It's just that you have to remember that it's just an action film. That's what it is, and that's what they've aimed for. And if you accept it as that, there isn't anything else,
Yeah, I know.
To really complain about.
I think this one will have more Star Trek feel than the first two. It still will be action. Yes, I agree. Yeah. But I think it's going to get a little bit more of that feel. And I think what they should do, and I'm cool with this, is that give us two separate universes, which they're doing with the TV show, that's coming out next year.
Well, they already have that. They have two different timelines, so that already works for them.
So that's fine.
They can keep timelines going a certain way.
The movie universe or the movie timeline is more action, explorer action, right? And your TV universe or timeline is really that timeline continues from the Picard timeline anyway. So that's.
I think most people would be fine
with that. Yeah.
With that.
Except of course that one this is where, because I remember I asked Lou about this. Lou was like I would love to watch it, except the first episode is on CBS, and then the next episode goes to CBS Interactive or whatever it's called, which is like silly considering this is the problem that all these channels tend to shoot themselves in the foot. Okay. I have Hulu, and I have Hulu Plus, or the highest one. There are no ads, right? Of course, one person, Disney, aka ABC, has to be the only channel on there that says you must watch at least one ad before watching any of the ABC shows. I'm paying for no ads, right? I said, okay, fine, no ads. Everything I watch is no ads, except when I want to watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? You must watch an ad at the beginning and an ad at the end. I'm like, are you serious?
Of course.
No.
Of course.
So now we have CBS. And I forgot. Yeah, CBS doesn't have any shows on Hulu. So that's probably why. Yeah. Hulu. I forgot. But to me, that would have just been a nice place to just put your shows and be done. So that people, who's going to pay for CBS Interactive and then you want to go cancel the show afterwards?
That's the thing. The king of canceling shows.
Yeah. You will create a new Star Trek. You will put it on your network for one day, right? It will probably get 14 million views, right? And then, there's a new Star Trek. People will watch that because they will advertise it like, everybody's like, okay. Remember, Star Trek shows were big. People will watch it. A lot of people would like to see it. And next week, where is it? CBS Interactive. Go pay $9.99 a month. I'm like, and you're like, wait. You're like, wait, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, why am I paying for this again? Can somebody explain to me why?
Oh my gosh. It's just, Yeah, I don't understand some of the moves some of these companies make, and it's just them not understanding the landscape is, I think, a lot of times the issue. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, I
It is.
suppose.
All right. We've come to that part of the show, guys, where we tell you guys what we have on the channel and what we're going to put up. So, Mr. Warren Bowman, what did you have on BW1 last week, and what can we expect in the coming week?
Oh, sorry. So I have stuff on the channel, as I usually do.
Yeah.
I did put up my HTC 10 review last week, so that's up there. And I have a, not on the channel, but I have on SoundCloud. It will eventually get distributed out to different places. But I have a podcast going. It's a solo podcast called The Big Three. I'll put a link somewhere so you guys can kind of go check it out. And it's just going to be me talking about 3 different topics, either current or not current or whatever the case may be. It'll kind of jump around a little bit and just sort of give my thoughts and opinions on it. So start off with me solo, but we'll probably add some people as we go along. Try to keep it a good quality podcast. So no, I'm never doing a Google Hangouts with this thing ever, because it's crap quality. I don't want that crap quality anymore. But we'll definitely be pushing that out there. So we have 1 episode up right now, and like I said, I'll share the link to that. And we got some other big things going on that I can't talk about right now, but some new things, some updates, and some changes that are happening. So those will roll out as they do, and you'll see them when they happen.
All right, cool. For me, I put my 30-day review on the HTC 10, as well as Daniel put out his review of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga, which you should check out. He likes it. My 30-day review, somebody said, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to put this out there because when people leave comments, right, sometimes people just don't think. That's how I put it. People just don't think. Somebody claimed that I just used a device, but, it's okay. You can look back. I've used it for quite a while. Ghostbusters Trailer 2 reaction. I forgot to ask you about that one. We'll talk about that in a second. That you can go see. Uncharted review. My buddy Yuri 813 did the review of Uncharted. Be nice to him. Yes, he doesn't sound like typically everybody else on the channel. He has his own style, but he put out his review of Uncharted. We had, of course, Comic Crunch this week. The big video that it took me a while to do was the best Android low light camera. I'm going to have another rebuttal for everyone here. I know a lot of people talked about the fact that I didn't use HDR in the shots. I didn't put HDR in the shots because I figured most people just don't turn it on HDR unless, of course, it's left on auto. But I just kept it at base straight shot. So sometime tomorrow, I will drop the HDR version of the best Android low light camera. And every Nexus 6P fan and also Huawei P9 fan will be interested to check it out. Maybe you were right. Maybe you're wrong. I'll just keep it that way, leave you some mystery so you can check that out and not complain too much, or maybe complain more. Who knows? So stay tuned for that. Coming up this week, some more PC stuff. I just did an upgrade to Board Prime, so I might also put up that video tomorrow or even today because I'm almost done with it. I just installed the Samsung M.2, I forgot the name again. Why am I forgetting names lately, man? So I feel like I'm getting old. The VNAS, the VNAND, sorry, which is the M.2 that speeds at 2500. So it's almost double what we're getting from the Kingston. And that thing is fast. It is straight up fast. And I was able to I'm running on Board Prime, running that and the Kingston. And it's like, oh my God, I have not enjoyed speeds like this in my life.
All I'm running on my system are 2 Kingston PCIe's. I don't have any SSDs inside of this thing.
Yeah, I don't. I have the Kingston PCI SSD and the Samsung M.2. So I'll do a video. I have the video later on today, I think, for that, so you guys can check it out.
What did they say? But Hanlon said these people are answering your questions. Yeah, we are.
Okay, what are the questions? Sorry, did we miss any questions? Kyle shakes his head on Ghostbusters. I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
Great video on low light, thanks. What questions are you asking? Yeah, just leave the questions and we'll try and answer for you guys. And then I'm getting the Vive and Oculus next week. So
awesome.
So I will put out. I'm going to have a bunch of videos on that, in setup video, unboxing, silliness that runs with it, all that kind of stuff. I've cleaned out the apartment and pushed out some space. So, so that's gonna be interesting to see how it turns out, and I want to see. I mean, and of course we do a comparison, which is better, or that kind of thing, so you guys can make that decision. One's $599, the other one is $799. So they're not cheap. They are definitely not cheap. All right, guys, that's it. Any questions? Anyone has questions? So while I ask for questions, Warren, Ghostbusters, quickly, your thoughts on the second trailer as I go through and see if there are any questions we can answer.
Yeah, the trailer better than the first one. Still looks like Boston. Doesn't look like New York. Maybe because I live in the city, I can see it. But anybody else that's ever been to New York one time can tell. You can tell the structural differences between the two cities, and you know that they've taped it someplace else. The musclehead in the whole thing, Chris Hemsworth actually got to speak, and they're just letting him talk with his own accent, which is interesting. It is interesting. It's not really any better than what the first one was, but it's. Let's talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer, because that was actually better than whatever this trailer thing. I think even after the second one, because they dropped it on Twitter, by the way.
You mean Ghostbusters?
Yeah, Ghostbusters. They dropped on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was all right.
Not
Kyle,
going to do well.
Indiana Jones is better than Ghostbusters. As much as that Indiana Jones is still better than Ghostbusters right now.
Well, we don't know. We haven't seen the film yet, because that could change to this could be a little bit better than what that was. So you never really know. But this is probably good. I feel bad for that movie, because this is probably going to do some of the weakest box office launches. It's falling in that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles first one role of having terrible trailers, and because of that, the box office opening weekends were pretty bad for it. But then eventually they picked up, because the movie itself ended up being better.
Yeah, but I don't think
this movie not what the trailer was.
I don't think this movie is. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think this movie is either. I think this movie is.
Because remember,
it's disappointing. Like, my college is in the movie and stuff. That fake Columbia College is actually the college I went to.
But think about it, right? Remember, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The problem they had with the trailers, they showed less of the turtles and more of April O'Neil, right?
That's the only problem with honestly, now that's the only problem with the Turtles movie is her. Is that her character is not so much her, but the character that they've decided to portray April O'Neil as is completely.
Well, X-Men is not out here in the U.S.
No, it's not until like next week.
Okay, this is our general consensus of X-Men. We put all our comic book, cartoon knowledge of X-Men in a box. We go into the movie and we enjoy whatever Bryan Singer gives us. That is
since Jubilee this is the 80s and Jubilee exists. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that's what we do. We just set everything aside. My thing with X-Men is that if Bryan Singer, even if he mixes everything up, like he does a very weird jumble job of mixing things, but he needs to give the essence of the character. That's always been my problem. Like, you can mix up the storyline.
He's an idiot.
Just give me, even if the storyline is mixed up, I'm like, yeah, that's still how
he's an idiot.
That's how Cyclops would be, or Jubilee. I'm cool.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, he's an idiot. And Fox is dumb for keeping, God, Sam Raimi, what the hell is he doing? Give it to him. Because at least for the most part, with the Spider-Man movies, he might have written his own thing, but it had the essence of, damn it, Spider-Man in it. And the films are good enough that they're not doing a whole reboot of the character to do a whole other film.
Well, here's the catch, and here's the thing that's happening over there is that right now, they're doing X-Force and they're doing mutants. The people who are handling X-Force and mutant, you expect that to fall under the Bryan Singer camp.
It's not him.
Is the producers and the guys who handled what?
Deadpool.
Oh
yeah, no, that whole thing. They're essentially, I guarantee you, at some point, they like what you're seeing from Deadpool and X-Force will be its own damn universe. It won't seem that way. They'll just mention the other. They'll pull the Marvel TV show shit where they'll mention those characters are around, but they will not actually show up in. They will not cross each other's universes.
No. They will. They will. You know why? I said the only benefit Bryan Singer
when Bryan Singer's not around, they'll show up
because he's. I think he's leaving off this one. The benefit is that the only benefit he gave them is that because he's putting this movie in the 80s and Deadpool is present day, right? When they show up, it would just be the X-Men have been around. I mean, Jean and the rest have been around.
We say it's in the 80s, or apparently
it's in the 80s. It's actually.
How does Jubilee exist in the 80s when she was created as a 90s cartoon character?
I don't know.
How does that work? She wasn't even in the comics. That's the funny part. She wasn't even in the comics. She was later added.
I don't know. No.
How does that work?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know.
And then the suit they got her wearing, and that high yellow, and it's just like, oh my god.
I mean, look, it's close enough. Okay, I prefer that rather than not give her black leather. Okay, let's just be thankful. This is Bryan Singer. He would have given black leather. So the fact that she's wearing close to her outfit.
If she had given her an outfit close to Kitty Pryde, I'd have taken that. But it's just like, this is, oh god. And did she have the blue gloves? I don't remember she had the blue gloves.
I don't think so. I mean, we'll see.
Oh my god!
But yeah, we'll see we'll see X-Men, and you guys will know when we watch that. All right, guys, that
X-Force thing is them slowly pushing him out, and the better that those movies will do. Because I guarantee you that those guys play is like, you know what? We need to get rid of that because we want to eventually join into that $1 billion cash cow called the Marvel Universe at some point. We want to cross over with them, but we got to make sure our shit is good before we can even go the hell over there. So I guarantee you they're saying to themselves, we're going to keep doing it this way. Then when Fox sees we make a bunch of money, and then we show them this other figure that says, if we do this little crossover here, we can make $2 to $3 billion. They're going to go, hey, there's the money. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, Bryan Singer he's done a long tenure, and it's fine.
They'll say bye, and Marvel's deal will be like, all right, so we'll do that, but we want Wolverine back. We want to do our own movie on Wolverine, and that's when we'll get the new Wolverine out. That's when we'll get the new one. They'll Spider-Man it. They'll get Wolverine. But that's how the crossover will essentially.
But to me, the only problem with Wolverine is casting the Wolverine, not them doing one. That's not.
They just said all they have to do is one thing that Bryan Singer did right is show two actors of paper card in the same damn scene, and you see it crossover. That's fine. Do that. That acknowledges
that. It's just, to me, it's the actor. It's whoever takes over, because that's one actor who's done the best job in the X-Men franchise.
I don't think that's necessarily going to be
it's going to be hard because people are going to compare to Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but when you're saying it's Wolverine in a different universe and it's a different type of Wolverine, that guy's going to be allowed to kind of have his own thing, go his way.
It's going to take that person like two movies, maybe even 3 for people. By the third one,
because I think by the time that happens, we wouldn't have had a Wolverine in anything for like 4 or 5 years. So I think at that point we'd have been past it. This isn't Spider-Man where they kind of did it 2 years after we already gotten a different Spider-Man, 2 years after the last the first Spider-Man that we got. That wasn't that case where luckily enough that Andrew Garfield really didn't identify largely with Spider-Man the way Tobey Maguire is Peter Parker to a lot of people. He never really hit that point, I think, in the public perception. So they were able to really swear for that to another kid, and it just kind of worked. So
they're going to cast
if Wolverine turns out to be a chick in the near future.
No.
All hope is lost. So I think he's doing X-23 or something.
They're doing X-23. They're doing X-23 in New Mutants. So that is going to be your Wolverine placeholder, and it's going to be clearly told that she's not Wolverine, but everybody kind of will get that.
Oh, so Days of Future Past fixed that too.
What?
Days of Future Past apparently fixed that too.
Oh yeah,
she already showed up.
Yeah, no, for
that 5 minutes.
They're changed. Like I said,
she was in the movie. Was she in a movie longer than Wonder Woman and Batman vs Superman?
No,
I don't know. Might have been close to the same.
Wonder Woman was there.
Maybe a scene more.
No, Wonder Woman was there for 10 to 15 minutes. As Wonder Woman, she was there for only 10.
10. Okay, so yeah, that was, 10 minutes is about the same as X23. Actually, as X23 was about 10 minutes or so. So that's about the same. The sad part about it is that was like one of the few scenes that he's actually done well. Was her in that fight scene? I was actually done, and the way she died was actually pretty sad. It was like, this is cool. I just wish it wasn't only 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, guys, that's it. Definitely check out Mr. Warren Bowman at BW1.com. Again, Hangouts, just not want him to put a lower third in. Check out the channel, check out all the videos. Also follow them on Twitter. It is BW1.com, spelt out. And
SoundCloud.
Yeah, and SoundCloud, and you definitely will share the link. Yeah, definitely send me the link. So I'll put it with the
link. It doesn't put the link here in the chat, but I tell people where to go. Just look up BW1 DOTCOM because someone else already has BW1. That's not me, so look for the logo. You'll find
All right, and as Border Work as well. Yeah, follow, subscribe, stay tuned. Thank you very much, guys, and always enjoy your entertainment.